Okay, Karen, you know what they're saying now? Mainstream media is dead. Mainstream media is dead. They blew it. Nobody believes in them. And the new alternative media is the future. That's horseshit. That's horseshit. Because sitting around on a podcast just talking about shit isn't journalism. What are they doing on the podcast that they're sitting around talking about? Stuff the mainstream media already did. Like, what's it, Luigi Mangione? Oh, right? The assassin?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Did Joe Rogan or anybody actually go out and
the Kelsey brothers?
The Kelsey brothers? Did they go out and do the gumshoeing, the sleuthing, standing in the cold, going to the youth hostel? Any of this? No. It's just talking, chit chat, bullshit. Not us. And by the way, I appreciate you all. I heard you at the Killer Cares charity event. Thank you for listening and trusting us. We do original work. Let me remind you what this program is about. We do our own work, or we have people on that do the work, or we have the people on that are in the news or make the news. That's what we do.
That sounds good, Charlie. That makes a difference.
You want to be part of it?
Where do I apply?
Here you go. There you go, right there. Write your number down right there. Case in point. In Lansing, they're up there doing the secretive lame duck legislative session where they're trying to ram through a whole bunch of bullshit before the holiday, because nobody would even dream of doing these things before the election because you'd be out on your ass. So Ken Beck and I, in cohesion with the enjoyer.com, MichiganEnjoyer.com, went up to Lansing to have a look at what the fuck they're doing and how they're wasting our money. This is original. You're going to love it. Roll it. What am I doing? Smoking a butt while sitting on the crapper at the Michigan State Capitol? Let me explain. Turns out Lansing's a great place to work because no one has to work there. They're all at home in their jammies coming up with schemes to waste your money while they're still working under the COVID telecommute rules. Is anybody working? Working. Lansing's a ghost town. I'm told about 43,000 of the state's 50,000 employees work at least sometime at home. And that doesn't include the legislature or governor staff. Those numbers are a state secret. So why are they sitting at home scheming to give a Detroit billionaire $1 billion for an empty building when the state is spending $1 billion on empty buildings? And that's not all. The work-from-home wastrels of the state legislature are trying to ram home a plethora of dung legislation during the secret lame duck hearings. So we convene a hearing of our own. Are you telling me they want to give driver's licenses to illegal aliens? Not only that, sir, but they want to increase fees on our driver's licenses. And it's your testimony that they want to teach transgender sex education and put tampons in the boys' bathrooms? Yes, and they want to have early prison release for people that committed murder before they were 18. And free water and subsidized housing for people making a middle-class income? Yes, sir, and gas tax and toll roads and fees for people who sell tobacco. And it's your testimony that the roads are broken and the schools are stupid in Michigan. And to make matters worse, sir, Lansing's empty. We're paying $1 billion for the office space, and we want to give $1 billion to a billionaire downtown to buy empty office space. This whole thing's out of... I wanted some answers from someone in charge. Nobody here. Speaker of the House. And that's not a bad thing if you're pulling a government check. Late 30, Joe. No pesky citizens to deal with, no lines at the coffee pot, no fish smells from the microwave, and no annoying phone calls to ruin your afternoon nap. The building was empty, so I thought I'd go to the John and have myself a cigarette. I mean, who's it gonna bother? And you'll never guess what I discovered. Two-ply? In a depression? Last year, the state of Michigan was required to list how many people were working from home and what it cost. But not this year. So I went to ask the director of the Department of Technology, Management, and Budget, who's supposed to be in charge of all this.
It was not working. Is that what it is?
That's what I got. The director's phone is not working. Director of Buildings and Management, Budget, Technology. Phone's not working.
Getting no answers there, I visited the mortician across the street. He showed up to work.
Why is this town so dead?
I think they're still all working at home.
Billions for billionaires, driver's licenses for illegals, failing schools and people who don't show up for work. We're broke, and yet we're paying for it all. Lansing needs an enema. We need someone to come up here and wipe out the waste.
Live from downtown Detroit, it's the No Bullshit News Hour with my main man, Charlie LeDuff and Karen Dumas.
It's just it, breaking news. No more bullshit. No more bullshit.
Well, as you just saw, the politicians lie to you, the media lies to you, and how do you know if your investment statements are lying to you? Remember, you're not managing your wealth. That's some unseen guy working for a big bank, jockeying some unknown algorithm. What's the difference between an algorithm and a logarithm?
I would call Luke or somebody. I don't know.
Okay. Oh, Luke Nowacki at 248-663-4748. Pinnacle Wealth Management. Your guy's not making decisions based on what's best for you. He's making decisions on what's best for his bonus. Gambling with your hard-earned dollars. You should know your money, man. That's why I work with financial specialist Luke Nowacki at Pinnacle Wealth Strategies. He'll tailor a financial plan specifically for you, from annuities to retirement accounts to college savings. He'll keep you up to date and always a phone call away. Let Luke Nowacki worry so you don't have to. Luke Nowacki, 248-663-4748. And Archangel Senior Management. If you are an entrepreneur looking for a safe and socially responsible real estate investment, that's Archangel Senior Management. Senior living, one of the fastest growing markets in America, and Archangel offers small communal living for senior citizens in homes right inside our own neighborhoods. Very nice way to live. Mm-hmm. It's the antithesis of the cold corporate nursing homes we've all now heard so much about. Archangel has formed partnerships with the School of Nursing and Majestic Residences, a home-based assisted living franchise system. You guys hear that? That's how it works. The partnership provides authentic caregivers with the tools and training necessary to manage their own care homes, and Archangel investors in that real estate can feel secure in both their investment and the care teams. The care's genuine, the owners are local, and Archangel has Overwatch. If interested in this trailblazing opportunity, contact Archangel at 989-614-0416, 989-614-0416.
Do you realize how simple but significant that is?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just that concept.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Call it.
I just want to make sure that you realize that.
989-614-0416. Yeah, the industry's kind of quaking about that. It's time. There's so much that needs to be changed. Mm-hmm. So much, and that's what they promised us up in Lansing. Like, where they're trying to ram something through where it's got to do with pharmacies and access in rural areas. Mm-hmm. And all the representatives on the committee are, okay, we're for it. We want to protect people. Then Big Pharma comes in, mm-hmm. drops $5,000 and everybody's 501c4. And all of a sudden it doesn't make it out of committee. And then, people in the countryside are poor. Mm-hmm. And then you're squeezing them when you promised that you would look out for them. And you saw that. You see what's going on in Lansing. Man.
Nobody's looking out for anybody but themselves.
Oh, my God.
That's the reality that we're facing. The people that are in place to make decisions for those who put them there are getting nothing in return.
And what the fuck? Hey, what the fuck, Mark? 40,000 out of 50,000 people control. Mm-hmm. They're still working under COVID rules.
Oh, I know.
They're probably wearing masks at home, too.
Like I'm a constituent, I'm a reporter, like phones don't work. Mm-hmm. Speaker of the House isn't at work. The bureaucrats aren't there. Fucking nothing's getting done. Yeah. The budget's ballooned, 40% under Whitmer? We don't have the money. The school's got to cut. You want to give driver's licenses to illegals?
Those are really weird things to push through, I think, for a lame duck session.
Yeah.
I mean, who does that benefit? Who does that help?
But isn't that what they do in lame duck?
No, I know.
Nobody's paying attention,
but
and we
usually-
just kind of...
Usually to their benefits of their friends and families, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Bad policy.
I think it's really interesting too. Like you see the Democrats going on TV, and we really blew it, and we're not connecting with anybody in these.
That's why
these issues of ours, right? These issues of ours were scattershot and not what regular. We need to reconnect with people, right? The media, mea culpa. Here's one. Here's one right here. This is the New York Times today. Here's the New York Times. An unprecedented surge in immigration. Okay, so the New York Times decides in recent weeks to analyze the magnitude of the recent migrant surge in the United States. Want to know their findings? But they just found this out. Okay, number one, the surge since 2021 has been the largest in U.S. history. Okay.
no surprise.
Well, they were denying it. Even after adjusting for today's larger population, the surge is larger than that during the peak years of Ellis Island.
Wow.
The share of the U.S. Population born in another country has reached a record high, all time in this country. President Biden's welcoming immigration policy has been the main reason for the surge. So the New York Times is now declaring that what Biden did was the reason. For nearly 4 years, they denied that Harris was the border czar, right? What the fuck? Okay.
Is this article from 18 months ago?
It was from today.
Interesting.
But there's a change in administration, so now there's got to be a change in conversation and change in tone. That's what everybody does. Everybody's a chameleon.
More than half of net migration since 2021 has been among people who entered the country illegally. They're saying 8 million. They're not counting the gotaways, right? The cartel runners and people on the terror watch list, the ones that want to avoid. That's 2 million. Here's another thing that they forgot to put in. The people that jump their visas. You come in on a tourist visa. You come in on a student visa. We've given out a record number of such visas. Conservatively speaking, at least 1 million people a year do not leave. Right? Yeah. That is from the United States government itself. So that's another 4 million. You're talking 15 million. This isn't even accurate.
And if we go back to 9/11 and those terrorists, they all overstayed their visas. Most of them are student visas.
Exactly.
I believe, yeah.
Okay.
And most people that are here legally are people that overstayed their visas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it only took 10 of them to take down the Twin Towers. Yep. And now we get the same bullshit from Trudeau up in Canada, right? Mm-hmm. That's why Trump's like, come kiss my ass. The unprecedented scale of recent immigration, says the New York Times, helps explain why the issue played such a big role in 2024. Yet the New York Times couldn't tell us during the election or tell us the truth. They're so fucking decrepit. And number 7, the recent immigration surge has probably ended, period. Next word, Trump.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. Like, what is his approach going to be as, cutthroat as he's conveying that it's going to be, like January?
I wouldn't characterize it as that.
Well, okay, cut and dry, just very simple, to the point. Is it as aggressive? Maybe aggressive is a better word.
I think it's being overstated because, look, no one's going after babushka. No one's going after abuela. What we're going to focus on is fucking criminals to begin with. 1 million people that have already been told to leave. Another 500,000 that have criminal records, including over 10,000 rapists and 10,000 murderers, right? We're going to get them first. That's a big job to begin with. So we'll begin with that. And we're going to zip this shit up. How hard is that?
Okay, well, we'll see.
You know what I mean? And Trudeau, old Pinko Pierre up there, right? Old wokey, poutine premier, pretty boy. You know what Trudeau means in French?
Pretty boy?
Water hole.
Yeah.
So he's definitely old water hole, old
Charlie.
the creature from the water hole, right? With your dumb immigration policies. Here's one real big statistic. Half of the people that the Canadian security apparatus flagged as a security risk, they let them in anyway.
Wow.
And they're coming here. Twice as many from Canada than from Mexico on the terror watch list. It's been so awful. Now, how do we localize this? Like our mission. They just got a Chilean gang in Oakland County busting into people's homes. You know what I mean? You bust into homes, that's violent.
Yeah, it is.
That's ultimate violence right there. That right?
It is.
Rape, murder, and busting into someone's home. And diddling with children. Those are the 4 no-goes. No-go.
And seniors. You gotta
Oh,
leave them off,
yeah,
too.
and abusing seniors.
you gotta leave them off.
That's the 5 cardinal sins of being a human being.
Right. There should be honor among thieves, if they would say. Those are things that are should be off the list.
Yeah, like, we're Americans, you know what I mean? It's very funky, very wide open here. Those are the 5 fucking things you do not do. And they're doing them. So we got a Chilean gang working Metro Detroit, busting at people. They busted them. What do we know about them? That they were on the visa waiver program. Do you all know what the visa waiver program is? The visa waiver program is if you're from certain countries, they're from Chile, Colombia being another one, you can fly into this fucking place called our home without a visa, without really no background check. As long as you leave before 90 days, which nobody does, that's how they got in. This is what's been going on. And the New York Times, which helped lead to this insanity, they're responsible for it, and now they're trying to dig backwards. Wow.
I guess that sounds like I don't even know how to describe it, but you think about when you travel, the problems that you have when you travel internationally. You're stuck at customs, you're stuck at all this stuff, and how is it just on the opposite? And even coming home, you standing in line, you're ask 20,000 questions. Let me see this. Like, how is that so easy for everybody else, and it's difficult for us to even come back home?
And when you travel, like even to places, allies, friendly countries where you don't need a visa, you got to show them your vaccination papers.
You got to. It's a lot.
But
to
during
travel.
COVID, we're letting 2 million people in a year during the pandemic that you all said freak out about. You didn't say boo that they just let these people come in, no vaccination, no requirement, and paying for airplanes. This is insane.
What's the logic behind that, Charlie?
Mark, what's the logic behind that?
Yeah.
Oh, you asking me?
Yeah.
What the logic behind
You're
it
the
is?
smart one here.
I don't know. Encourage tourism? That seems ridiculous,
But
though.
think about this.
They were claiming asylum.
But think about this. We keep talking about population here in the city of Detroit. All these people that are coming in, nobody's coming here.
No, like the popular, Mike Duggan and that guy, right? The population grew like 1,000 people. Yeah, they're illegals, dude. Yeah. And the population's shrinking again. I look forward to that. What is the other thing? Like in this Luigi Mangione, right? The privileged hitman. All of a sudden, it's going around the internet. He's a fucking hero. So a premeditated assassin is held in high regard. And at the same time, Daniel Penny is vilified, the Marine Samaritan trying to protect people. It goes badly. Don't get me wrong. It goes. What is going on here?
But I think you have the intersection of economics, race. You've got all those things that play into the perception. And I don't necessarily think that people were happy that the CEO of United Healthcare was murdered. I think they saw it as, just some kind of say it for me. They were vindication. Thank you. Yeah. Of what people are experiencing in the healthcare space here.
Okay,
that's not how we solve things, though. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think so.
What? Like, look, everybody's gets angry and they say shit they shouldn't and have a fleeting fantasy, right? To murder somebody? Like, no, there are people celebrating. There's a lot of them.
That's not right.
But that makes us all exposed. I'm sick of that person, what they say. They make me so fucking angry, I'm going to go do something to them, right? I mean, that's not the way. No. The way is clean government for us, not like what they're doing up in Lansing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Vote differently.
And when nothing goes right, when none of these systems work, we're asking the judge, the wise person, right? We have the law, the police, and everything, and none of this works, that the judge be the rational, wise woman in all of this, because there's just a gray area, and we need you to be worldly. And I'm looking at the Daniel Penny case, who subdued Jordan Neely, a schizophrenic black man who was high and is one of the top 50 known troubled homeless people in a city of almost 9 million.
In and out of jail numerous times.
Arrested 42 times in 7 years. Yeah, punching old women, old men in the face. He's violent. He's well known. Okay. So he comes in and he says, someone's going to die today, and I don't care if I spend my life in prison. This from the witnesses on the train. People of color, people not of color, I guess. Who by the way, don't have the privilege of knowing his background. Right? And knowing that he's troubled, he is just at that point a random guy walking onto the subway saying, someone's going to die today. Dude, I lived in New York City for like many years. Yeah. When that shit happens and everybody kind of turns away.
It tries to ignore, right?
But now he's a foot in your face and there's children there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if somebody says that today, you hear it differently than you may have years ago, because people are so violent and they're publicly violent.
So Daniel Penny, the ex-Marine, Mr. Neely dies. So he's charged with second-degree manslaughter. That's the primary charge. And the secondary charge is criminally negligent homicide. So manslaughter carries a higher penalty than negligent homicide, okay?
Okay.
Which still carries 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
still pretty serious.
And manslaughter's 15.
Yeah.
So the jury made up of 7 women, 5 men. 7 whites, 2 blacks, 1 Asian, 1 Middle Easterner of descent, Middle East descent.
No, I'm listening.
And 1 Hispanic. That's almost dead nuts, the makeup of the United States. So this isn't some racist white power jury. This is people from New York considering all the facts. Now, what's interesting, it was a hung jury on the big charge, manslaughter. Couldn't decide. It was probably 10 not guilty and 2 guilty, right? So the judge in this case really wants some kind of adjudication, some kind of conviction. This is never heard of. Throws the charge out, says, come back Monday. Forget that. He's now only charged with the lesser crime, which is criminally negligent homicide, to which I think the jury gets tired of being played and says, no, let him go. All right. Well, here's the deal. The instructions are this. Here's the main charge, manslaughter. If guilty, don't consider the lesser charges. If not guilty, you may move to the lesser charge. Okay. So it wasn't manslaughter, it was negligent homicide. The problem here is the jury didn't reach a verdict of guilty or not guilty. They were hung. It's a mistrial. And again, the judges, the legal system in New York is so perverted. That's not American justice. That's a mistrial, and you do it all over again. Now, and this is where people that don't feel that Mr. Neely got justice, you didn't get justice because the judge perverted it, and Penny can't be brought back for the manslaughter because the judge dismissed it. This is why it fucks all of us.
Sounds familiar, Charlie.
It's interesting, Karen, you were talking about perception and what's going on out there. And I was always amazed that a lot of people compared this to George Floyd, where, a guy is on the neck, Derek Chauvin on the neck of George Floyd for what, 8 minutes?
9.
Approximately 9 minutes, yeah. And the crux of this case with Daniel Penny is he strangled him for 6 minutes, right? And should he have known that that's enough, which I think that's insane. It's so different in that courtroom and what they're talking about versus what they're saying outside, right? You have one side saying, this is a guy who's been in and out of jail, he's a drug addict, this is why he died. And then you have another side saying he killed him simply because he's black. neither of those really entered the trial.
Look,
it's
man.
not part of it. It's so exhausting.
As a guy that lived through this, we got some of this.
Oh yeah.
It was 2015. Guy comes by. He's been robbing, breaking into hotel rooms, everything. The police are looking for him, and he comes and pickpocket, mugged, whatever you want to do, unarmed robbery. Grabs a cell phone off of the owner of American Coney Island Grace. My name gets called. By the way, if you're listening to this and you want to see the video, you want to see the pieces we're doing and not listen, you can go to nobsnewshour.com. We're on YouTube, Charlie LeDuff on X, the enjoyer.com. They're worth looking at.
Video available on Spotify as well.
Oh, okay. There you go. So my name gets called, and I look up, and there he goes, and I chase him. I just want the phone back. He doesn't run. He turns around, and he's trying to take me out. So I take his legs out. I do a double leg takedown in the wrestling terminology.
That's after you threw your coffee at him.
I did it. Yeah, I threw the coffee.
That's what it showed.
Well,
right
that's why I threw the coffee when he turned around.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's a good
oh,
move.
the fuck? Oh, my God. What? Oh, whoa. And then now, he's talking to shit. And I got my slippery boots on. Up, and I go down. See that? Bam, right up. Okay, now I got his legs. Take him down. I'm on top of him. I intertwine my legs and his legs. I give him.
Chokehold. Well,
When it's not a chokehold. It's not called a chokehold.
what is it? You had to arm your headlock.
Yeah, reverse and an arm bar. Because it's not in wrestling, you
'Cause you
can't
wrestled,
you
yeah.
can't do a
Can't do it.
chokehold.
I know, yeah.
What was the street name for it, Charlie?
It was a takedown.
Okay.
It's MMA.
2 points.
You can't beat a guy that knows how to grapple.
Right.
So he came after me. He committed a lot of crimes. He came after me. I took him down. I'm holding him down. 20 minutes for police to come. You know what he said to me when I was on top of him? I'm gonna fucking kill you. So I'm supposed to let him go. I'm gonna kill you. Much bigger dude than me. Maybe 220.
And he knows who you are. That's another
I don't
thing.
I don't know if he knows who I am.
Yeah.
But the guy's easily 40 to 50 pounds heavier than me. He's a young dude, 19 years old.
You had a lot of people that kind of everybody was converging to try to see people running from across the street, and the guy on the bike stopped. I mean, that's unusual.
To have a look.
Yeah. Well, nobody was.
Okay, so what am I supposed
Now, were you thinking at any point in time that your actions right there could lead to a death?
No.
Yeah, you were just trying to
Until he
subdue him.
said, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And how did you respond to that, Charlie?
I forgot. I said something to him.
I mean, did you do something different?
I think
Did you-
I said to him, I told him, I said, the name's Charlie LeDuff.
It does.
Remember it.
You are.
Yeah.
Right? Remember that.
Right.
So this guy, huge outburst in the court, man. Fuck you, N-bomb to me, right? He stands up, fuck you, N-bomb. They give him, 3 to 15. 3 to 15 for a cell phone. Outside the court, his old man lover said, he's violent. He sometimes hit me, but you don't understand it, the way his problems growing up. And I'm like, be careful, my friend. And this is almost 10 years later. He's still in prison for a cell phone. So what does that tell you about the level of this guy? Now, what do you want me to do, America? Do you want a guy to come up and abuse you, rob you, steal from you, hit you, break into your stuff, beat you up? Or do you want me to try? Do we just let people walk around doing this? Because eventually people don't do it when they think there's a consequence. And if there's no consequence, we're lost.
And we also talk a lot about when people see other people in need, whether it's a crime or something, and people turning their heads. You talked about that a little bit, even on New York subway. If there's something going on, everybody kind of turns their back. So, I mean, are we the keeper? Are we our brother's keeper?
Well, answer it then, because you could see I'm exercising about it. I'm not asking a question. I want an answer from you. What do you do? What do you think of this Daniel Penny, or what do you think?
I mean, what do you? That's a pretty large. Narrow it down. What do I think about it in what terms?
Like, did he do the right thing?
Well, I mean, that's relative. Whether or not he did the right thing. Hold on, Charlie. That's relative.
You're dodging it.
No,
man.
I'm not dodging it, Charlie.
Yeah,
because
you are.
if in fact you're Do you want my answer? Or
but I want an answer.
That is my answer. Hold on, you got to listen though, because if you're in a situation, you're responding to that situation at that time, and so this guy is posing a threat. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what type of, do people on the train know that he's this known person or whatever? So did he respond accordingly? Yes. Looking back on it, is there something that he could have done differently to restrain him and not kill him? Perhaps. I don't know. There's so many variables in that.
Well,
there are.
That's not the question.
But that's my answer.
Yeah, but you're dodging it.
No, I'm not dodging.
It's a total.
What am I dodging? I'm not a judge, Charlie.
Should he have done that?
Should he have intervened? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yes.
then when shit goes bad, like you're right. I mean, is there more he could have done? Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. There are two variables in that. But did he respond accordingly? Should he have intervened when you've got the livelihood of these people around
Their
in
lives.
jeopardy?
They said it was they were afraid for their lives.
That's what I'm saying. So should somebody have done something? Then yes. And
he was also helped by two other men.
okay, so
One
did they
white
do
man,
the right thing?
one Latin man,
see,
and
that's
one black man.
But see, that's irrelevant, though. I mean,
No, it's
just,
totally relevant because this was about race.
It's all,
That's wait, please, not mumble over the point. This was they're talking about vigilante justice by a white man, and the white man was protecting women of color, children of color. It was also two other men of color who recognized this. And are we supposed to be victim? I'm not calling for vigilantism. This Luigi motherfucker.
So,
I wouldn't even call it vigilantism. He wasn't going around looking to stop crime. I mean, crime came to him, and Daniel Penny stopped it.
Was it a crime?
but I'm saying,
Well,
did you have to check
no,
a
no,
box before you intervene? Do you have to?
No.
That's what
Where
I'm
would
saying.
that's what I was asking.
But that's what I'm saying, and I'm saying that when you first brought it up, I said there's always the intersection. There's politics. There are people talking about brags, and
It's all noise.
It's politics. It's race. It's economics. Those factors are always. They come into play whether or not they should.
Who didn't think about that? Daniel Penny. He thought he saw a guy come on who was bothering people and saying,
threatening
that
people.
someone is going to die, and he just he didn't think if he had it to do all over again.
He did think. He handed his cell phone to another passenger.
Yeah, but I mean the bigger ramifications of race and how long I'm going to hold. And the intent there was good.
And this thing, like for me on the street there, that was just help.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
and nothing but, right? And like,
But
please, thank you. Running after him, I'm just jogging. I don't think this, the guy should have just ran. Then he turned
away,
around.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, fuck. I don't want this.
But that's the part of it, Charlie. When a situation is like that, everybody's responding. They're not going through a mental checklist of who, what, how, why. They're responding like so many people do to that situation.
My dear friend, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. Most people don't, right? The fucking people on the podcast talking don't. Most people in life don't stop and help somebody who's bleeding or who's passed out. They look and they take pictures. Mm-hmm. Do you want the rest of us to go away? Because believe me, it's like Penny said, it's a scary thing. Mm-hmm. Holy fuck, I don't want this.
Yeah, I mean, it's an adrenaline drive, and again, I mean, this guy, there's whatever.
No,
I know. I'm just saying, but I mean, he's a Marine, so I mean, you got to take that into consideration. In terms of just like an off-duty police officer, they may respond differently than just the average person because they feel like they can and that they're capable and that they somehow should.
Well, they're required to, and they took the oath. And once you're a Marine, you're expected to behave like that in society. Same with the cop, but it's not like a cop or a Marine or an average citizen isn't scared. Mm-hmm. It's just I couldn't see my friend or you or somebody be threatened or hurt. Sometimes you have to intervene, and it's so fucking crazy.
You see a need and you respond.
That the man becomes a villain. Yeah. What I think, and again, I couldn't imagine. He didn't want to kill the guy, and the even if the guy's a schizophrenic, He didn't want to die.
You know, I heard somebody say too that if in fact this guy was known to have these issues and he was as well known around the New York area, why wasn't, where, you know, all these people that are concerned, and certainly condolences, somebody loves him, he's somebody's family member, but why wasn't there some form of intervention or outreach to try to help him prior to?
This is where the system fails. He's top 50, be on the lookout, violent homeless guys in the city. They put him in the mental institution, Bellevue. His mother was murdered when he was young and stuffed in a suitcase. His father, who's all over the news now, wasn't involved. When I'm looking at $7 billion to put people that shouldn't be in this country up in the Roosevelt Hotel getting their laundry done and culturally appropriate food, and you have hurting, sick men, violent men like this wandering around, and you know it. Where's the money supposed to? That's where the money's supposed to go. This, when we call it the system's supposed to be able to take care of things that you and I can't, because it leads to what happened on the subway. The system was supposed to intervene so that doesn't happen, and it failed. And charges should have never been brought. But there's something very famous that happened in New York. And if you ever lived in New York, you know about it. And it was a woman named, a bartender. She's 28 years old in 1964, Kitty Genovese. She goes home to Kew Gardens, Queens, where my office used to be. She's raped and she's stabbed to death. And she's screaming. And nobody intervened. Nobody intervened. And nobody called the cops until they realized she was dead. This was now, if you Google Kitty Genovese, you read through Wikipedia. It wasn't as monstrous, the people that turned away as once was believed, but the general facts remain. You heard, you didn't do anything. It's a great shame on New York. It's a great shame because the city is so alienating. It's not isolating. LA is isolating. And New York is the exact opposite. It's everybody's on you and you pretend they're not there. And when you turn away, you're not a society anymore.
But can't you say that almost about everything, Charlie, is that we see people in need, we see people in pain. You talked about, you know, what's going on in Lansing, and nobody responds until it's sometimes too late. I mean, that becomes almost like the order of the day.
See, it's all the stuff stacking up, right? The elected officials not doing the things for the people who elected them, doing favors for the very well-oiled, taking fucking peanuts for it, looking for a job after the fact. When we're dying out here, the schools are awful, kids aren't learning, you're lying about the crime, and then we all turn away from each other.
Yeah.
And there's no signal how to come back from it. So, you know, we can do better. We can do better. And I think maybe we're starting to. I think if people have woken up. Yeah. It's not political.
So. Yeah, it shouldn't be political, Charlie. It should be about human nature. And I always say, see a need and respond. Yeah. Whatever, it can be small, it can be significant, it can be within your space and area of comfort. But we are all here together. I mean, we really are. Yeah. And it's not about, well, I don't know if I like that person. I mean, because you could be on the other side of that equation. That's what people forget. At some point, you're on the other side of it. And people want help then, and then they want people to pay attention to your issues. Well, did you pay attention to those issues when they were impacting somebody else?
Well, if you're in need and you need a Coney kit. Wait, there's a...
Comes with a prayer.
No. All right. A word from our dear sponsor. And then on the other side of this, Woody Woodriffe, Fox 2 sports anchor, giving us the Lions layout. Back after this.
Two with everything. A side of cheese fries to go. Ready, set, go, red, go.
Detroit might not make it to the championships, but you can have a little bit of Detroit at your next championship party. American Coney Island, 12 dogs with all the fixings. Airmail special, right to your door. That includes Alaska and Hawaii. AmericanConeyIsland.com. The first, the best, and better than all the rest. And they can't fly either. Yeah, baby, I'm going to Vegas. They got a Coney store there too. Yeah!
Man, that fucker's a ham. So anyway, speaking of subways, New York City. Did you see Eli Manning in the Manningcast?
Yeah, I watch the Manningcast every week.
Yeah.
I love it. It's my favorite show on TV.
Monday Night Football?
It really is, yeah. Yeah, I love it. So, but he did say, because we were talking about Daniel Penny and how dangerous the subways are in New York, and I thought it was really interesting because Eli gets roasted last week for posting a picture of him, and he captioned it, "First time on the subway in New York," which, you know, he played for the Giants.
For like 12 years?
Yeah, and he went...
Never been on a subway?
No, it's ridiculous. So he was getting roasted online, and they addressed it, which I thought this was pretty interesting.
Eli, this was very shocking to me. I mean, I thought you were a man of the people. You've lived there since 2004. First time riding the subway?
I am a man of the people. I live in New Jersey. I'm not in the city that often. I was in the city last week. I had to get from uptown to downtown. I hopped on the subway. I'm a man of the people. It was in my contract when I was playing. I wasn't allowed to ride the subway. I could get like pushed in front of a train.
Is that right? Is that right? Kind of like no skiing, no riding the subway.
No motorcycles, no subway in New York. That's you gotta stay safe.
Interesting. So, with great pleasure, I want to welcome in Woody Woodriffe, the anchor for Fox Sports, Lions guy. Hey, Woody, how you doing, brother?
I am fantastic, Charlie. And you know what? I could see Eli Manning having that clause in his contract where he could not get close to the trains or anything like that because his career in New York was so bad, someone would have pushed him in front of a train.
Dude, he got two rings, man. What are you talking about? That guy's borderline Hall of Fame.
I understand that, but still, if you utter the words Eli Manning in New York, you're still going to get oh, man. Come on, man.
Which begs the question, since, you know, you're like the Lions insider,
okay.
What's in those guys' contracts? Like you can't ride the people mover or you can't get gas at night. What's in there, the caveats?
You know, I don't know what's in some of those contracts, but I will say that I remember last year, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he was upset at a lot of the team because they would not hang out downtown. Apparently, he said that the guys were scared to go downtown. And now I don't see that at all, but that's what he said, and he has now since moved on to the Philadelphia Eagles.
One of the guys he said who would go downtown was Jameson Williams, and we all know about JMO in the whole gun issue. I'm a little surprised if they're concerned about safety that they let players carry guns, or is that something the union fought for?
You know, I think that might be a union thing because it has been true in the past. I remember back in the day when they had Kevin Smith as a running back. You know, he carried and was no issue for anybody. So I don't see, you know, the league or the team having a problem with guys who carry at all.
I mean, Karen carries, so I mean, I don't
play for the Lions, so
yeah, but you know, but you're bigger than the Lions, and you know it.
I will say this, though. A lot of times when the guys are out, they have people with them. I mean, you know, so it's not like it's just, you know, JMO. I mean, you know, we know that he was out with his brother in that incident and all that kind of stuff. But I think that when the guys go out, they do have some kind of personnel with them.
Ken was telling me that when the league cleaned up the drunk driving issues, because now anywhere, is this true? Anywhere worldwide, if you're an NFL player, there's a number you can call, and they'll come get you. Is that true?
It is true. It is true.
That is so
smart.
True.
They will come. Well, it's the perfect. But again, guys should have known that on their own. Let's be honest. If I'm an NFL player and I want to go out, I've got a car service. I've got somebody driving me around. I'm not, getting in my, Ford Focus and driving down to the club, hanging out and having a couple of drinks and then driving home. No, I'm having, Jimmy drive me home who I hired as my driver. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, because let's face it, what's the number one program in America? Sunday Night Football, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well,
these
NFL,
guys are the movie
sure.
stars now. They're the movie stars, right? They're bigger than
no
Hollywood.
doubt.
So speaking of which, I mean, this town's buzzing, man. The Lions, 12-1, 11-game winning streak. It's the best season they've ever had if they can finish it. So I'm asking you, bro. I mean, they got 4 rugged games coming, right? They really do. You got Buffalo coming into town. Then you've got Chicago outdoors in Chicago. Then you got the Niners fighting for their lives. And it all might come down to Minnesota coming into town. And we got 8 guys on IR on the D. Do we got enough ponies to get there?
Of course we have enough ponies to get there. I'm not worried at all. I mean, I would have thought that with 16, 17 guys on the injured list last week that they would not have stepped up, but they did. I mean, I can't look. I'm gonna turn this around to you, Charlie. What team do they lose to? I don't see it. I don't see them losing to the Bills. I don't see them losing to the Bears. I don't see them losing to the Niners or the Vikings. And don't forget, the Vikings still have to play the Packers. So there will be a battle there. They could lose a little bit of momentum there, and maybe the Lions, seal it up before that last game. Who knows? We'll see.
But this is the NFL.
Yeah.
And I'm just, look, man, I'm 59, going to be 59, and 50.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. Well, it's in March, so.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I'll write that down too. $20 and a happy birthday. You're a kind man. So Woody,
do you bet
look,
on the
just
games,
look at it
Woody?
this way. No, I do not bet because I don't like to lose. But I do. I will play like a DraftKings every once in a while.
That's
or
what I was
something
wondering,
like
because
that.
you kind of so your knowledge doesn't qualify as insider trading at all.
No, it does not. But I don't really bet on a regular basis. So I mean, but I will give people tips and help them if they like to bet. And
Tips like what? We're listening.
Well, tips like don't look at the next 4 games. Just look at the next game in front of you, because that's all you can do. You can't win 4 games at once. So just try to win the next game. And that's what this Lions team has done. All they've done is look at the next week, the next week, the next week, and look where we are. 11 wins in a row, 12-1. On top of the NFC and on top of the NFC, the best team in the NFL, in my opinion.
So you're saying take the over against Buffalo?
Look, you know what? I was for a while. I was giving out my best college tip, and it was bet Miami and take the over every game because the Canes were putting up 45, 46 points a game just on their own. So if you want to bet the Lions, look. Feel free, bet them to win, do whatever you want. But I am not afraid of anybody on the Lions schedule, or I'm not afraid of, injuries or anything else like that. Look at what Dan Campbell has done. These guys have come off other guys' practice squads and all this stuff and fit right in. So it's great to see. And I'm looking for more.
Cause it's a cult. Like you're right about that. I'm just going to enjoy each game, but at 59, this is 50. Okay, with my real consciousness, 50 years of Sunday, put on the Lions, they lose, 60 minutes is over, it's Monday. Mm-hmm. Over and over, and so I'm kind of ramped up about this, It's
depressing, yeah.
You should be ramped up about this, Charlie, because let's be honest, I'm not carrying 50 years of baggage into this year's team. It's different than it was 50 years ago. It's different than when Barry played. It's different than when Billy Sims played. It's different than when Dexter Bussey played. It's different when Joe Schmidt played. I mean, this is right now. We can't do anything about 0-16 or any of that other crap from years past. It's all about 12-1, and you got Buffalo on Sunday at home.
It's not that different, though, from when Patricia and Quinn were here. I mean, it's just a few years ago. And from everything I've heard, pretty awful front office, pretty awful locker room. I mean, how drastic is the change now? I mean, everything we hear about Campbell is just rosy. Are we being misled?
It's totally different. It's totally different, and you're not being misled. I mean, you have right now, or I should say we have right now in the Lions Brain Trust, one of the best that has ever been put together. I mean, let's be honest. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are not getting guys who are, the best players. Let's be honest. They're getting guys who are the best fit for what they want to do. And that's how these guys are coming off the street and stepping right in and performing at a high level, because they're a fit for what they need them to do. And that's perfect. It's not about, stats. It's not about, oh, this guy is the best or that. No, he fits what we do. So we're going to use him and he's going to step up. And so far, that's what we're seeing with almost everybody who they brought in to play.
Well, let me give you my perspective from not necessarily a football fan, but I mean, I'm not, but I look at Dan Campbell and he has a bravado and an energy and a presence to me that plays into the mentality necessary to play a game as abrasive as football. When I look at him and I look at Matt Patricia, Dan Campbell looks like a football player. He has such a different approach to me that I think transitions into a different attitude from the players. Am I wrong?
I would agree. No, I would agree with that, Karen. But the thing is, it's not that he's, smarter than anybody else. He has a vision, and you can see his vision. I mean, you could not really see Matt Patricia's vision. You really couldn't see Rod Marinelli's vision.
Dan Campbell looks like he's in
Dan
shape.
Campbell's vision.
That helps too.
No doubt. I mean, as a former tight end, yes,
Dan Campbell's bod.
He has maintained his physique, so to say, and he's out there with the guys. Way. He's one of the guys out there. He's doing the up downs just like the players.
That's why women do
and all that stuff. And that's why they run through the wall for him, because he is a player's coach.
Speaking of which,
they see him as a player.
Speaking of which, it's not said enough. That defense, right? This is a culture deal. This is why they're busted up. They fucking hit. I mean, you can hear it through the TV screen. They fucking hit.
Yes, they do, but I don't buy into that narrative that practice is too tough and guys are getting injured because it's too tough. No, but they do hit. Brian Branch is a missile in the secondary when he comes up. Kirby Joseph is a missile in the secondary when he comes up. Jack Campbell at linebacker is stepping up in a big way. And you know what? Here's the other thing. And Mark, you probably know this as well. The Lions each day are getting healthier as they get back. So we may even see Alex Anzalone at the end of the year ready for the playoffs. We may see some of these guys stepping back into their role. And then when you throw in the guys they have currently now playing, that means added depth. And that could mean that the sky's the limit for this team when the playoffs roll around.
Let me tell you about that 0-16 season, though. This is why it broke my heart.
Okay.
I had just gotten into town, right? And it was the 75th year anniversary of the Lions and the 40-year anniversary of the book Paper Lion by George Plimpton, where he goes through preseason. Well, he's a writer. He's, it's
great book.
Really great.
Classic book.
And I went to go see Matt Millen, Detroit news writer. And the culture in there it just reeked of losing. It really did. It was glum. It reeked. But Millen was really cool to me. And I said, hey, how about, for the anniversary, I do the Paper Lion redo. And he goes, well, there's new rules now. In the preseason, there's still a roster limit, but you can come to rookie camp. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking rookie camp. I'm going to fucking rookie. And then they went 0-16. He got fired, and I never got to do the rookie camp.
Oh, well, hey, look, they did go 4-0 that preseason. So they were undefeated that year.
The encyclopedia known as Woody Woodriffe, Fox 2 Sports anchor. Really great to see you, brother. It's nice to see you in a happy sports moment in this town because it's just been dark so long.
And you know what? The Lions aren't the only team that's trending up. Think about the Pistons. They're also trending the right way.
What?
They only won 14 games last year, and already they have won 9 already this year.
They're in the bottom 5 of the Eastern Conference. I'm not buying that.
Look, man, do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if the Detroit Pistons may be sniffing that last playoff spot in the East at the end of the year. Do not be surprised.
Yeah, but I don't even get the playoffs now. You mean the play-in? Like you're in 10th place? Your 10th place is something to get excited about?
Yeah, right.
Look, you know what? After a team that only won 14 games last year, that is something to get excited about. Yes, it is. That is trending in the right direction. Yes.
And the Red Wings? And the Red Wings?
Well, we got a little more work to do on that end. I mean, guys are starting to call for Steve Yzerman's head.
Yep.
And, You know, and maybe rightly so, because it's been, 6 years now that we've been looking at this rebuild. And I remember when Ken Holland left, he said a rebuild takes 10 years. And we were saying, oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, no way. Apparently, he may be right, because we're on year 6, and we're starting to see calls for Derek Lalonde's head. We're starting to see calls for Steve Yzerman's head. I don't know where the answers are going to come from with the hockey team, but
let's just stick with the Iser plan, okay?
Yeah, right.
Because I mean, that was the problem.
You may not be able to.
Was the problem in this last decade here. The merry-go-round of the rebuild, the Tigers, the Lions, stay the course.
You know what, Charlie? Let me ask you a question right here. I see it a lot with with the teams in this town when they bring back former players to be managers or front office people, and it always seems to tarnish their playing legacy. You know what I mean? Like when Alan Trammell, played for the Tigers, he was fantastic. But when he was the manager, you ran him out of town. Phil Garner was a great player, but when he was a manager, you ran him out of town. Joe Dumars, a great player, but when he was when he was the boss of the Pistons, run out of towns.
Even though he delivered titles, right?
Even though he delivered titles, and they ran him out of town. So even with Steve Yzerman, I'm looking at, is this the end game that we're going to see with Steve Yzerman, where he gets run out of town? I don't know.
Wait a minute. The dawn is breaking on that one too, because Dan Campbell was a Detroit Lion
on the 0-16 team.
And remember, there were very loud calls from those guys were trying to run him out when the first year and a half went pretty badly, right? Maybe you just stick with it.
That is true. Yeah. But you know what? If he does turn in with a Super Bowl victory, I think that wipes his slate clean, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, brother.
Probably a statue.
Exactly.
All right, man.
He might have a statue right next to Barry.
You got it.
And do we have a picture of Woody at the?
Yeah.
Can we?
I can put it up.
We'll put it up later.
Oh, you mean at the benefit?
At the benefit.
Killer's Christmas?
Yeah, Killer's Christmas.
Yeah,
dude.
I was dressed as a snowman. That is correct.
It was a great costume.
It was fun. We had a lot of fun.
Dude, I'm telling you, this town is so much richer for having you here.
Really, I appreciate that.
Really love
Thank
and
you
respect
so
you, man.
I try to just, do what I do and give it to people straight. I'm not really a shtick guy where it's like, I'll show you some video on Tuesdays and Wednesdays like a former guy around here used to do. But we just try to play it straight, and Dan Miller and Jennifer Hammond and myself, we got a good team. I can't believe
best sports crew around, man.
26 years, Charlie. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, I got it. Never mind. All right, man. We'll see you later, brother. Thanks for the time. Go
All
Lions.
right, my man. Good to see you. Nice to see you, Karen. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Mark. Everybody out there. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Woody.
Right on, and that's it. And
all right.
We'll see you next week.
All right.
Go Lions.